So, you're holding an iPhone. It feels sleek, solid, and incredibly simple. But the story of how this device gets into your hand is anything but simple. It's a massive, global undertaking that starts long before any assembly line powers on. The iPhone isn't just made in one place, it's a product of the entire world. Think of it like a complex puzzle with each piece coming from a different country, each one specializing in making something specific. This global supply chain is one of Apple's biggest secrets and greatest strengths, a finely tuned machine that spans continents to bring together the best possible materials for your phone. Let's break down where some of these materials come from. The aluminum or stainless steel for the frame might be mined and processed in places like Australia or Kazakhstan. The rare earth elements, which are crucial for the magnets in the speakers and the Taptic engine's vibration motor, are often sourced from China. The glass for the front and back, what Apple calls ceramic shield, is a special formula developed with Corning in the United States. It's a fascinating mix of raw materials from the earth, all chosen for their specific properties of strength, conductivity, and durability. Every single component has its own origin story. Once these raw materials are gathered, they don't just go straight to the main factory. They are first sent to specialized manufacturers who turn them into the components we recognize. For example, Samsung and LG in South Korea are major producers of the brilliant OLED displays. Sony in Japan manufactures the incredibly complex camera sensors that capture your photos and videos. And the brain of the whole operation, the A-series chip, is designed by Apple in California, but fabricated by TSMC in Taiwan. Each one of these suppliers is a leader in its field, creating high-tech parts that meet Apple's incredibly strict standards. This intricate network of suppliers is what makes the iPhone possible. Before a single worker in the final assembly plant even touches a part, hundreds of other companies have already done their job. They have refined the metals, created the glass, built the chips, and engineered the camera modules. These components are then carefully packaged and shipped to massive assembly hubs, primarily located in China, and more recently, India. It's at these gigantic factories, run by partners like Foxconn and Pegatron, that the final and most famous stage of the iPhone's creation begins, bringing all these global pieces together. Walking into an iPhone assembly factory is like stepping into the future. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend, with buildings that stretch as far as the eye can see. Inside, you'll find a mesmerizing dance between advanced robotics and skilled human workers. The assembly lines are incredibly long, snaking through vast, brightly lit rooms. Highly precise robots handle many of the repetitive or heavy lifting tasks. They might apply tiny dots of adhesive with superhuman accuracy, or move large trays of components from one station to the next. These machines work around the clock, ensuring a consistent and fast-paced production flow that is essential for meeting global demand. The process begins with the iPhone's empty shell, or enclosure. This is the first piece to be placed on the assembly line conveyor belt. As it moves from one station to the next, it starts to get filled up. The first few steps involve installing smaller, internal components. A robotic arm might precisely place the Taptic engine, which creates the haptic feedback you feel. Another station might install the intricate array of speakers and microphones. Each step is carefully choreographed. Workers, dressed in special anti-static uniforms, oversee the machines and perform tasks that require a human touch and dexterity that robots haven't quite mastered yet. The role of the human workers is absolutely critical. While robots are great for precision and speed, the human eye and hand are still unmatched for certain delicate operations. Workers might be responsible for connecting tiny, flexible ribbon cables that link different parts of the logic board together. They use specialized tools under magnification to ensure every connection is perfect. The training for these roles is intense, as a single misplaced component or a poorly seated connector could cause the entire device to fail. It's a high-pressure environment where focus and precision are everything, and thousands of workers perform these intricate tasks every day. As the iPhone continues its journey down the line, it slowly starts to look more and more like the finished product. Each section of the assembly line is dedicated to a specific set of tasks. One area might focus solely on the logic board and its associated chips, while another handles the installation of the battery and its connectors. The line moves continuously, and every worker and robot has a very specific job to do in a very specific amount of time. This organization, a symphony of man and machine, is what allows millions of iPhones to be built with remarkable consistency and quality, day in and day out. Now we get to the really exciting parts, the components that define the iPhone experience. One of the most critical steps is installing the display. This is a moment that requires incredible precision. A robotic arm, guided by lasers, picks up the delicate OLED screen assembly. It applies a thin, uniform bead of waterproof adhesive around the edges of the iPhone's frame. Then it carefully lowers the screen into place, ensuring a perfect, gap-free seal. This seal is not just for looks, it's what gives the iPhone its water resistance. Human workers then connect the display's fragile ribbon cables to the logic board before it's all locked down. Next up is the camera system, arguably one of the iPhone's most important features. The camera module, which might contain 2 or 3 separate lenses, sensors, and stabilization mechanisms, arrives as a single pre-assembled unit. Installing it is another delicate task. A technician or a specialized robot carefully places the module into its designated spot in the chassis. They have to align it perfectly so the lenses peer out through the small openings on the back of the phone. Even a microscopic misalignment could result in blurry photos, so the tolerances here are incredibly tight, measured in microns. Then comes the battery, the powerhouse of the device. The lithium-ion battery is one of the larger components inside the phone. It's not just dropped in, it's secured using special adhesive pull tabs. These tabs are designed to hold the battery firmly in place during use, but also allow it to be removed more easily for future repairs or recycling. A worker carefully positions the battery and connects its power connector to the logic board. This step is monitored very closely for safety, as batteries are sensitive components that need to be handled with care to prevent any damage during the assembly process. With the screen, camera, and battery in place, the iPhone is almost complete. The logic board, which is the phone's brain, has already been installed. It's the central hub that connects everything. The display is wired to it, the camera sends image data to it, and the battery provides power through it. These 3 key installations represent the core of the phone's functionality. Once they are securely connected and the final screws are tightened, the phone is structurally whole. It finally looks and feels like an iPhone, but its journey isn't over just yet. The most important phase is still to come: testing. Before any iPhone gets the green light, it has to go through a punishing series of tests. This isn't just a quick check to see if it turns on. It's a comprehensive diagnostic process where every single function is verified. Automated software and hardware rigs test everything. They check the display for dead pixels, ensure the touch sensitivity is perfect across the entire surface, and verify that Face ID or Touch ID works flawlessly. The cameras are tested for focus, color accuracy, and image stabilization. Microphones are checked, speakers are tested for sound quality, and wireless connectivity like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cellular is confirmed. This quality control gauntlet is relentless. In addition to the automated software tests, phones are also subjected to physical stress tests. A certain number of devices from each batch are pulled aside for more extreme trials. They might be put into machines that simulate being dropped from various heights, or into chambers that test their water resistance under pressure. There are even robots designed to simulate thousands of button presses to ensure their long-term durability. If a device fails any of these tests, it's either sent back for rework or analyzed to identify a potential problem in the production line itself. Once an iPhone passes every single test and gets its final approval, it's ready for packaging. This is another highly automated part of the process. The phone gets a final polish to remove any fingerprints from handling, and a protective film is applied to the screen. A machine then places the iPhone into its iconic, minimalist white box. Other items like the charging cable are added to the packaging. The box is then shrink-wrapped to seal it from the elements and ensure it arrives to the customer in pristine, untouched condition. It's the final touch before the iPhone leaves the factory floor. Finally, the boxed iPhones are ready to begin their last journey. They are packed into larger master cartons, which are then loaded onto pallets. These pallets are whisked away from the factory and transported to airports. From there, cargo planes fly them to distribution hubs all over the world. From these hubs, they are sent out to Apple stores, carrier stores, and other retailers, just in time for launch day. So, the next time you unbox a new iPhone, you can appreciate the incredible global journey it took, from raw materials to a complex assembly ballet, all to deliver that piece of tech into your hands.